At 6:15 a.m., my alarm went off. I rolled over, hit the button, and went back to sleep. When Colin came downstairs at 7, the kitchen island was bare. No espresso, no oats, no perfectly poached eggs. He stopped in his tracks for 2 seconds. Above his head, no breakfast today? Well, at least it saves me the routine. He grabbed his car keys and walked out the door. He didn't even ask if I was feeling okay. I stood by the second-floor window, watching his sleek black Audi pull out of the driveway. Usually, I would run out to the porch in my robe to wave and tell him to drive safely. Today, I stayed behind the glass. He didn't look back. At noon, I didn't send him a text. I used to send at least 5 texts a day. Did you eat lunch? Are you slammed today? I miss you. Looking back, his replies were always identical. Yeah, fine, busy. I unlocked my phone and sent a message to Roxy instead. Roxy, call Craig at the Mercer Gallery. Let's talk about the solo exhibition. 3 seconds later, Roxy replied with a wall of exclamation points. Summer, you finally woke up. Craig has been waiting on standby for 8 months for this. I smiled. A real smile, not the plastic one I wore for Colin. That afternoon, I drove across the river to the West End. I wasn't grocery shopping. I wasn't running errands for the house. I walked into a commercial real estate office. Hi, I'm looking for a loft or a studio space in the arts district. Just a wide open room with good light. The young agent was eager. What's your budget, ma'am? Under $3,000 a month. I've got the perfect keys right here. Let's go look. When I walked out of the agency an hour later, the afternoon sun hit my face. The March wind was still carrying a late winter chill, but as I breathed it in, I realized it was the most comfortable afternoon I'd had in 3 years. Colin came home that evening at 7:30, earlier than usual. He took off his shoes and walked into the living room. The dining table was empty. The kitchen was dark and cold. Summer? I walked out of the bedroom holding a paperback novel. Yeah? He glanced at the empty table. No dinner? What kind of tantrum is this? You didn't cook? He asked. No, I was a bit tired today. Didn't have the energy, I said, my tone incredibly flat. There's some frozen ravioli in the freezer. You can boil it yourself. Colin stared at me. Whatever. If she wants to be lazy for a day, let her be lazy. He walked into the kitchen. I heard the faucet turn on, then off, the metallic clatter of a pot hitting the stove grate. For the first time in 3 years, he was boiling his own dinner. I turned a page of my book. I felt no pity, no guilt. I only felt that I should have done this 1,000 days ago. A week passed. I didn't wake up at 6. I didn't send the 5 daily texts. I didn't rush to the door to take his briefcase, pour his water, and present a plate of sliced fruit the second he walked in. I stopped asking if he was tired or what he wanted for dinner. The change in our dynamic was massive, but Colin's reaction was minimal. For the first 3 days, his subtitles read, "Finally, some quiet. It's actually nice that she's not hovering. Did she read some dumb magazine article about giving men space? Whatever. I don't care." He actually seemed relieved. I watched those subtitles drift through the air and a cold smirk tugged at the corner of my mouth. Fine, enjoy the quiet. On Wednesday evening, my mother-in-law arrived again, and this time she didn't bring honey. She brought Doris. Summer, Doris said she was craving your famous beef bourguignon, so I just had to bring her over, Constance beamed, making herself entirely at home. Doris and Colin are the ones who actually belong together. If it weren't for that ridiculous debt to her father, Doris would be the lady of this house. Doris took off her coat and strolled in, looking as comfortable as if her name was on the deed. I am going to make sure Colin sees exactly why I am superior to Summer tonight. In the past, a sudden ambush like this would send me into a panic. I would have scurried into the kitchen, desperately throwing together a gourmet meal while wearing a permanent, accommodating smile, terrified of offending either of them. Not tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry, Constance. I haven't been to the grocery store this week. The fridge is pretty bare. How about we just order something in? Constance froze. Excuse me, every other time I've walked through that door, there's been a feast waiting. What kind of stunt is this? Order in? Constance's brow furrowed heavily. You have a chef's kitchen right there. Ordering delivery is tacky. I smiled politely. Well, I can get catering from that French bistro downtown. What are you in the mood for? Catering? Constance's face darkened completely. Has she lost her mind? Guests arrive and she wants to order takeout? What kind of wife is she? Doris chimed in with flawless timing. Oh, Mrs. Montgomery, please don't be upset. Why don't I cook? I just learned this incredible seared scallop recipe. I'd love for you to try it. She was already walking toward the kitchen. The scowl on Constance's face instantly dissolved into a radiant smile. Doris, you are simply too sweet. Look at Doris, a true catch, and then look at Summer. I sat comfortably on the sofa, watching in absolute silence as Doris rummaged through my kitchen, opening cabinets and looking for spices. I used to get so jealous. I used to feel so utterly inadequate. I used to hide in the master bathroom and cry silently into a towel. I didn't feel anything anymore, because her subtitles were broadcasting her entire strategy. Her apron is in the second drawer, but I refuse to wear it. I'm going to drink water out of Colin's favorite glass just so she has to sit there and watch me do it. When she finally served the meal, she purposely plated it on my favorite set of hand-painted ceramics. These plates are gorgeous. When I move in, I'm taking all of them. Colin walked through the front door just as she set the table. Seeing Doris standing in his kitchen, laughing, his footsteps paused. What is Doris doing here? Followed immediately by, she looks really good in this setting. Then, his eyes shifted to me. Why is Summer just sitting there? That's not like her. You're home, I said. Just those 2 words. No honey, no bright smile. I didn't even stand up. Colin frowned slightly. What's wrong with her? But he didn't ask. He never asked. The 4 of us sat around the dining table. Doris had managed 4 beautiful dishes. Constance took a bite of a scallop and practically swooned. Doris, this is divine. Better than a Michelin restaurant. If Doris were my daughter-in-law, I would wake up laughing every single day. Doris offered a graceful, humble smile. You're too kind, Mrs. Montgomery. Keep complimenting me. Make sure Colin hears every word of it. I kept my head down and ate my food. Slowly. Quietly. Normally, I would jump in and say, Constance, I'll definitely have to get the recipe from Doris so I can make it for you. Tonight, I was a ghost. Constance noticed. Summer, you're awfully quiet tonight. Just enjoying the meal, Constance. She let out a harsh scoff. Giving us attitude now? And if you don't like it, you should have cooked the damn dinner yourself. After the meal, Doris insisted on doing the dishes. I sat in the living room, sipping sparkling water. Constance walked over and lowered her voice to a vicious whisper. Summer, let me give you some advice. This little attitude of yours lately needs to stop. What attitude? What attitude? Look at you, ice cold, barely speaking, refusing to cook. You married into the Montgomery family to be a wife. You are not here to play a pampered princess. Know your place. If it weren't for your father dying on that highway, you wouldn't even be fit to shine Colin's shoes. I looked straight at her. In the old days, a lecture like this would make my eyes sting with tears. I would look at the floor and whisper, I'm sorry, Constance. I understand. Today, I just nodded slowly. I understand, Constance. My tone sounded exactly the same. But deep down, I knew that this I understand meant something radically different than all the times I'd said it before. Before, it meant submission. Today, it meant I was done playing the game. Day 10. The changes had finally compounded to the point where Colin could no longer ignore them. It started with an Instagram post. Historically, my grid was a shrine to him. Dinner made by my amazing husband, so blessed. I had actually cooked it. The flowers he sent me, so romantic. I had bought them myself, arranged them, and staged the photo. So thankful for you. Accompanied by a selfie where I was beaming, and he looked like he was attending a funeral. Pathetic, right? On the 10th day, I posted something new. It was a photo of a watercolor I had secretly painted, a massive whale breaching the surface of a midnight ocean, its back blooming with vibrant, impossible flowers. The caption was just one word, whale fall.